Hello, happy Monday. Welcome to SJU. I'm Eric. You got Emma, you got Bailey, you got Danielle. I'm back from vacation. Emma's back from vacation. Ryan's back from vacation, but he still made an appointment today. So still managed to step away. Spencer went on vacation. We're just doing a lot of tag team vacation stuff here. Bailey, Danielle, the ball's in your court. Yes.
It's your turn.
Yeah.
It's your turn. Where are you going to be going, Danielle?
Honestly, my couch probably. That's probably my plan.
Nice.
Staycation.
Nice.
Oh, trust me, I built into my trip the fact that I got home Thursday and then didn't do anything for 3 days after.
Fully respect that. That's the best way to do it.
Necessary part of it.
That's an experienced vacationer.
Thank you. Yes, it took a few tries. We got some trailers to talk about today. We got one big Marvel. They keep giving. So we have a big new Marvel trailer to talk about with Hawkeye. We also are going to catch up on the Matrix trailer, which debuted last week while we weren't doing a show. So we're going to catch up on all that. But let's dive in here with Hawkeye, which is the first trailer came out this morning, bright and early. This is debuting on the week of Thanksgiving, Wednesday, November 24th. But as we saw in this trailer, this is a big Christmas time story. Of course, Jeremy Renner is returning as Clint Barton, but Haley Steinfeld is right alongside him as Kate Bishop. Guys, what did you think of our first look at Hawkeye, the series?
The first time I was really excited about Hawkeye the series, not gonna lie. I've always been pumped about Haley Steinfeld coming in. I love Kate Bishop. But this is the first time that I was really like, because I love Hawkeye the character. Obviously this is like fully based on like the Matt Faction run. But like this was the first time I've been really pumped about the Jeremy Renner version of the character. I like this. I love a movie set with a Christmas background. I love it. I love Die Hard. I love Batman Returns is like one of my favorite movies. And so this idea of like father trying to get back to family during the holidays, I'm like, oh, and now it's got like, in addition to all of this other stuff happening, it's also on a time clock. Oh, give it to me. I love it. I do have a question, and you might be able to answer this. Am I the only one who didn't see Cardellini?
Oh, no, we didn't see her, but we saw him talking to what I assume is her.
Yeah,
right.
I'm betting she was filming her Netflix show. And so she's in this a lot less, and she's they did a few phone shots, is what I'm guessing is going to happen.
Her presence is felt.
Yes.
Yeah, I do love Linda Cardellini and would love to see more of her in this. But again, she does have a lot of other projects that she's working on. I'm definitely in agreement. I love the Christmas time framing of it. And one of the things that I think has been really strong about all of the Disney Plus series across the board is giving these secondary characters an environment in which they really shine. And so I think, to your point, Danielle, that it's not entirely Jeremy Renner's fault that we don't necessarily have a whole ton of affection for his Hawkeye. It's just that I don't think he's really been in an environment wherein we really get to see who that character is. And based on just this preview alone, I'm much more excited about the series than I thought I was going to be, because I'm just sort of meh about Jeremy Renner Hawkeye in general. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he stands out. And in this, I think he's really getting an opportunity to stand out. And also Rogers the musical. When can I get tickets to it?
They got it, right?
I want it in my face. That, along with, if they ever start doing those Marvel one-shots again, where we can get a little bit of Rogers the musical and a little bit of those like documentaries that Peter was watching on the plane, in the last Spider-Man Far From Home, I would be a very happy gal.
Yeah. Haley, what's your first thoughts here on Hawkeye?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I honestly was very unexcited about the Hawkeye series, to the degree that I did not realize the trailer had dropped until Ryan told me to watch it to prepare for this. So I watched it and then immediately got amped. I was like, they're doing a Die Hard. I was like so excited. I honestly, this is the most optimistic I felt about this series. And like, obviously I was super excited when I found out Haley Steinfeld was on board. Very excited to see her Kate Bishop. But like, again, I was lukewarm about Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. He never really did anything that stood out to me in the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm excited to, be charmed by him for the first time ever.
Yeah, I really love this trailer. I like Renner has Hawkeye, but also agree he hasn't been given that much to do. Like, I liked his big speech to Wanda in Age of Ultron. That was a really fun moment. It's like, I'm a guy with an arrow and there's robots.
Yeah.
But those are rare moments for him. Like, he's been super like the first Avengers movie, literally he was brainwashed and didn't get to hang out with the team for the front of that movie. But I love the character from the comic, like you mentioned, Danielle. So seeing that here, it's like I think, Emma, you're the one who said that these shows give you the chance to take.
Yeah.
They weren't going to do a movie about Clint.
No.
But this is perfect.
And I think that a lot of the time too, with characters like, say, Shang-Chi or Tony Stark being an exception, I think a lot of the characters who don't actually have superpowers tend to kind of get overlooked, and they maybe just don't quite work as well in the really big scale, lots of special effects, huge battle at the end kind of Marvel setting. And I think that they work extremely well in a television setting where you can live in that more grounded space.
Yeah, like the most charming that Clint ever was his introduction in Thor. Which Thor is a movie that I love, but like that was when I was the most excited for him, because when he has that line where he's like, y'all better wrap this up because I'm actually starting to like this guy. That's like one of the best things that his character has ever had to say. And then when they introduced us to his family, obviously that was really exciting as well. They kind of like lost a lot of the plot on that. And so the fact that this is, obviously we got to see Tony with his family, spoilers for Endgame, a movie that all of you have seen. But obviously, like, we got to see him like having his family way, but like having him try to be such a normal dad. Because this Marvel universe, the MCU, they are not effing around with secret identities. Like, they're not super doing that. So he's the only one who has been trying to lead. And obviously, like, as we can kind of see through the series, it looks like that double life is over. Like, they're getting into a huge, what looks like a huge limo, Hummerby. I don't know. But like, it looks like that part of it is done. But the fact that he was like one of the only characters that was really trying to have a normal life, I always thought that was interesting, and I'm glad that we get to explore that more.
I really like how I saw many people use this description on Twitter, including Paul Scheer and Zach Stentz, but this basically looks like Matt Fraction, who, if you haven't read his comic book, you absolutely should. It's a lot of the Clint and Kate stuff is obviously pulled from that, but it's Matt Fraction meets Shane Black, because it's like the Christmas setting, the buddy dynamic we're doing here with Clint and Kate. And it just seems like it looks really well. And I do hope, because I agree, like the grounded thing works really well here. And I hope they don't feel like in like the last couple episodes, they need to go crazy and have like big flying super villain come in.
Yes.
I worry.
Because sometimes they do that. They're like,
recently.
Basically always they do that.
Yeah. So keep this one, two people with arrows and bows and arrows running around New York and being shot at and being funny. I'm good with that, Let's see. Let me glance here. We have a couple questions here. Well, we kind of answered this one, which is Luis Valenzuela. I'm massacring your name. I'm sorry, but asks, would we watch Rogers the musical? That's a
yes. In fact, if I'm a Disney exec, I am scrambling to actually produce that right now.
Yes. Does he think it would be better with Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I have to tell you, I just want to see Chris Evans as Steve Rogers in Rogers the Musical, because I feel like that would because like Chris Evans is such a wonderful comedic actor. And I think that a lot of people forget that was really where he kind of started, was playing these like overblown sort of hot guy characters. And I think that it would be really fun to see him get to do that as Steve Rogers and sing.
I kind of want to see John Cena. Because he's got the body type and he's got the comedic chops. But yes, have Lin write it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda should write it for sure.
We are firmly
Cena can
on
rap.
it.
Cena can rap.
Funnier if he has himself
that's
as
right.
lead.
There's no reason it can't be a rapping musical, so why not? And my last thought here is Lucky the pizza dog. He only gets a little bit.
Yeah.
You only see him briefly, but he's there. He's on the poster too. So it's time for the very good boy to get his moment. And
they know what we're tuning in for. They know what we want.
That's right. Do you know how many plush Luckies they're about to give us? Come on.
Not enough.
I'm going to buy them. I'm going to buy them. So those are our thoughts on Hawkeye coming November 24th. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not yet for videos every weekday. Hit that like, hit that bell for us. Now let's do a little catch up here because yes, we're going to talk about another trailer that's been out for a few days, but it's a really cool trailer. So let's dive into the Matrix Resurrections trailer. Keanu Reeves is back, Carrie-Anne Moss is back, but there's also some new people in this. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Jessica Henwick, comes out December 22nd. This, they were kind of keeping this under wraps for a while, and then they went out with this big trailer. Guys, what'd you think of the Matrix Resurrections trailer?
I was excited to see the cat again.
I don't want to break your heart. It's probably not the same cat.
It's the same cat. It's the same cat, Eric.
It's definitely the same cat.
Sure. Okay. Beyond the cat, any thoughts?
I love the framework of this. I really do. Because this is the thing is I don't hate the Matrix sequels. Obviously, they are not as good as the first film, but the first film was really doing this brand new idea that hadn't, it was more of a novelty at the time. And so I think that when they were doing the sequels, they're like, okay, well, we already established what the novelty is. We're just going to go a little balls to the walls on this. And you know what? They made some decisions and some of them worked, some of them didn't. But overall, I think they get more hate than they're necessarily due. But that being said, I really like the way that they're framing this of, again, bringing up this idea of, okay, you've got Keanu and now he's like, I had these dreams that seemed really real. So there's a lot of fun to explore there of, okay, how did we get to this point?
Mm-hmm. And it does definitely connect with the there's a baby in here. I can already sense a baby. But no, please. I also have a baby that is currently on my thigh.
I have one laying on the table.
But yeah, so it definitely, because there is a framework with what the architect talked about and kept talking forever. Tell, don't show, I guess. But there is already that framework of you're not the first Neo. There's going to be a bunch of Neos. And so this totally fits in with that idea of there are going to be more of you. And then, that moment when him and Trinity are in the same space, they're just rando in a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. Again, this was always built into the framework of the movie that there's always going to be another Matrix. There's always going to be another Neo, and y'all are just going to get over it. And so I like that they are taking this approach with it, where we finally get to see one of the next Neos, who is starting to become on his own, and also, not to be too H on Maine, but wow, that dude.
Oh, look, I brought my wife to see Candyman. She had a lot to say afterwards about the lead actor of that film. Yes.
And he also looking real good in that combat, having all of the gravitas that you need. I love seeing all of the various blue pills and all of the different nods to that stuff. I loved the use of White Rabbit.
I agree. And that song is so overused, but it was so perfect in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone say on Twitter, and I agreed that this trailer and Hawkeye both made people happy because they just used the songs we love, not the slow, sad redo of the songs.
Yes!
Oh my God.
I can't even envision a slow, sad redo of White Rabbit. Imagine.
It would take 10 minutes.
It would take so
long. It's already a slow song.
Oh no, but Hollywood could do it, but they didn't here.
Yeah.
True.
I was really impressed. I was really impressed by this trailer because I love the first movie so much. But yeah, the sequels being so disappointing. There was a time when I felt like the sequels had kind of hurt the first movie's reputation. And then I felt enough time passed that people were like, no, the first movie's great. But the fact that I got emotional watching this trailer after really not caring about 2 and 3. And I only think I saw the third one once, and I always have trouble remembering the title of it. But then I was like, oh, this trailer looks really cool. Like, this is like tapping into, you know, the whole Why We Love the Matrix, a book by Kim Taylor Foster that you should buy. This really worked, I think, to sort of grab people that were kind of like weren't thinking about the Matrix for a while and be like, oh yeah, this is a freaking cool world, right?
And there's also just so much love for Keanu these days. You know what I mean? Like, we love a Keanu sans. They come around every 10 years or so. And I was having this conversation with my family about Keanu Reeves as an actor, and how my dad, his opinion was that Keanu was absolutely perfect in The Matrix. He's like, I don't think Keanu Reeves is a good actor. He's like, but there are certain roles that he is perfect for. And in The Matrix, he's perfect because he's kind of a non-entity.
Bailey has feelings about that.
I want to see a debate
like
between Emma's
Keanu
dad
sat
and
up
Bailey.
and went, ouch.
I know. Look, I don't necessarily share in my father's opinion on this, but I just wanted to share.
No, I mean, I think Keanu, I love Keanu. He is not someone you can put in everything, as we saw when he did period pieces in, England. But he was perfect as Neo, and the whole Keanu sans. This is perfect timing. And by the way, Carrie-Anne Moss looks great. And
oh my god, incredible!
Everyone looks amazing in this. This is like the hottest movie we have to look forward to, and I am looking forward to it.
I know we just did the honest trailer for Iron Fist, and Jessica Henwick was probably the best part of that show, which had a lot of struggles finding the best parts of. Yes. So I'm glad to see her here. Clearly, kind of a new Trinity type. Taking him around with her short hair and being badass.
Actually studying fighting techniques.
Yes.
Hey, that helps. Also, shout out to Jonathan Groff, perhaps best known for his turn as King George in Hamilton, popping up there at the end.
But between him and NPH, there's like a lot of musical contingent.
Yes,
they're better than the musical sequence.
And they were both on Glee for a second.
They were both on Glee. That's right.
Tony's is taking over. Look, now that's who we're getting for Rogers the Musical. NPH.
Yes.
I have no arguments about that. Actually, I would be all for that. The Matrix, another cool trailer. We're on board. Give us more, WB. I forgot to tease this at the top, but we're going to do something we don't do a lot here in SJU. We're going to talk some video games here, because there was other big stuff last week. There were some big announcements that are definitely some cross section of the entertainment geek side of movies and TV and comics and the video game world. And so we want to talk briefly, especially since we have Bailey and Emma here today, about the Spider-Man 2 of it all that was announced last week, officially, the Insomniac follow-up that's going to feature, of course, Peter and Miles returning, and the voice of Tony Todd as Venom, which is freaking awesome. Guys, thoughts on Spider-Man 2 being announced?
I'm amped. I'm just really excited. Like it's just pure excitement here. They said 2023, and that was the only thing that deadened my excitement. But like the entire way through, I was like, yeah, yes, more, yes. And then Venom shows up. My thoughts are not exactly like coherent right now. I'm still like recovering from how jazzed I got from seeing it. Yeah.
Emma?
I was very surprised that we got this drop during the PlayStation Showcase, simply because Insomniac is working on another Marvel game, which we'll talk about in just a second. And we actually saw the teaser for that first. So I thought, oh, well, there's no way that Insomniac is going to be presenting two big Marvel games here. And I was very happy to be wrong. Initially, when the trailer started, I was, you see Peter first, and then Miles comes in, and I was like, oh my God, is this a Spider-Verse game? Like, are we just going to get all the Spider-Men? But no, it is Spider-Man 2. It is finally a true sequel to the Spider-Man PS4 title. There were a lot of people that were underwhelmed, not underwhelmed by Miles Morales as a game. That was very, very well received, but they were disappointed that wasn't as full of a game as Spider-Man for PS4. So I'm really, really excited to see the return of Miles Morales, obviously. But yeah, the fact that number one, Venom is in the game. That was super exciting to begin with when you just started to talk about like, oh, we will do, you know, and you just hear his voice, and that it's Tony Todd. So like Tony Todd is really having a moment right now with Candyman and this. And yeah, I mean, you know, 2023 seems a long way away, but at the same time, you want these things to be done right. I think especially after seeing the big, poorly executed launch of some very large titles such as CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077.
What do you mean?
I know, right? I know. Sorry, Keanu. So I would much rather that these studios give a much further out release date, and then if it is in a shape wherein it is presentable at an earlier date, then say, hey, surprise, we pushed it up, rather than trying to crunch for a release date that is too soon in the future.
That's true. I very, very much support developers getting to see their families. Like, so into that idea. Love that. I just am an impatient person. So it's like, I would love if both of these things could occur in one beautiful harmony. That's my dream.
Gotta do cloning, then we'll be good.
Yeah.
Danielle, did you play the first?
Nothing ethically wrong with that.
Right. No. Danielle, did you play the first Spider-Man game?
I did. I played the first one, and I played Miles Morales. I am terrible at web slinging. Oh, buddy, do I suck at web slinging. But that was the first game when I got, because I got my PS4 late. So that was like the first game that I bought. And it's so much fun. It's just such a fun game. And it's fun watching all of the Let's Plays and just like how psyched people are about. I love a Let's Play. Ooh, does your girl love a Let's Play? Does your girl love watching people play video games? I have, since my sister and me started like watching my sister play Mario Brothers 2. And so, yeah, like I'm really super psyched for this. I can't wait to vicariously watch people who are better than me play this game. Super excited.
Yeah, Spider-Man is, as someone who just has not played a lot of games in the past decade for time reasons, pretty much only, Spider-Man is like the only game in the recent years that I beat that I just was so into. I freaking loved it. I still haven't played Miles just because I haven't gotten to it yet. Because I'm actually starting to play some games again. I'm playing The Last of Us, guys. But yeah, so Spider-Man, I'm just psyched for more of the world, because it really is like it's such a joy. It's such a joy to web sling, even if you're not doing it great. It's okay.
I also love a grown-up Peter Parker. You know what I mean? Like a not high schooler Peter Parker. That to me is something that Spider-Man PS4 executed extremely well. So I love getting to live more in that world. And then also Miles as a character, you get that good, like youthful Miles Morales energy. And it's just, I'm so excited to see the two of them work together.
Mentor Pete is so good. And that's like, it's so good. And that moment, I mean, now that there's a Miles Morales game, this is not a spoiler, but that moment when like Miles and Peter like reveal themselves to each other.
Yes.
Oh, it's like, I watch it over and over again. It's like my favorite.
Let's talk about the other Insomniac Marvel game that we were teasing a second ago, which is Wolverine was revealed. Same team behind Spider-Man Miles Morales. No release date was given for this one, just teases in development. Guys, I was freaking, I mean, look at him there with the flannel shirt and the cowboy hat. That is classic comic book Wolverine. What'd you guys think of the Wolvie tease here?
As we were getting the teaser here, and obviously you're just like in a dive bar somewhere, I started to have a moment and they kept focusing on the guy's hand. And so I was like, and they'd already announced it was from Insomniac, and I got so excited thinking that Insomniac was doing an X-Men game. I'm fine with a Wolverine game. I would still love to see Insomniac do a whole X-Men game, because I love me some X-Men. But that being said, I'm extremely hopeful for this, simply because of the fact that Insomniac does such a good job of really capturing the world of the comic books within the video games in a way where again, it's like Danielle brought up the web slinging mechanic. That's one of the things that was praised so much about the Insomniac Spider-Man game, was it felt like, oh, if I really could web sling and fly around the city, this is what it would be like. And so I'm very curious to see how they get into the Wolverine of it all. It looks grounded and serious, but not in an overly dark, gritty, serious sort of way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you, because as someone who is like such a casual gamer, that's the thing about Spider-Man, was like it's super easy to jump into without feeling like this is a baby's game.
Right.
It just, it feels like, but it like feels like, oh, this is stepping into the comic book in a really cool way, which is why I'm so psyched for them doing Wolverine.
Yeah, probably not going to hear like hurt in this one.
Right. What do you think, Bailey, about Insomniac meeting Wolvie here?
I'm excited. I trust this team. I think that they're going to do a great job with it. Obviously, we didn't see very much of it. Game's still very much in development. We don't have a release date, but just from the one brief moment of cutscene alone, I feel like they have a good handle on the character and they're going to do good with him. I would love an X-Men game as well, Emma. I think that Wolverine is a great start for that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen these characters in like a really long time, cinematically or game-wise or otherwise. And so I think this will be a nice reintroduction to them and just a renaissance of the X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, of course, not a coincidence that now that they can do X-Men under the MCU, it's all under one roof now, that they're like opening the floodgates and being like, let's do a Wolverine game and all this stuff. Just like I'm like, oh, they're putting Blade into a bunch of stuff, has his movies coming. He's like in the Midnight Suns game and all comic book events and stuff. So yeah, I'm very excited here. Do you guys think they're going to do, by the way, a Marvel like Insomniac verse? Like, will we see like this Wolvie meet the video game Spider-Man at some point?
My inclination is yes.
So too.
Yeah.
Kids love them crossovers. So.
Kids love crossovers.
Everyone loves a crossover.
So yeah, crossover is the best.
Give me a good old-fashioned Marvel team up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think, we'll eventually get more of those X-Men. And I mean, even this game, right? I wouldn't be shocked if like Kitty or Jubilee or something pops up in this game.
Yeah.
And then the last video game news here in the Star Wars realm, they announced Knights of the Old Republic remake, officially, finally. Remake of the classic game is development, has a PS5 and PC exclusive, at least at launch. It's going to be a joint project between Lucasfilm, Sony, Asper Media. Again, no release date. They didn't even give us the year tease like Spider-Man 2 did. What do you guys think about them returning to Knights of the Old Republic here, which has been an oft-requested thing?
Oh my God. This teaser, when Jennifer Hale started talking, I started to just get so amped, and they're talking about, the Sith and blah, blah, blah. And they're zooming in and zooming in and zooming in on this face. And then you see the mask. And I literally just yelled in my apartment, it's Revan. I could not be more stoked about this. I love Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic is like what I feel really made me a Star Wars fan. Like, I'd seen all of the movies and I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a kid, but with KOTOR, I really felt as though, because, you get to build your character and you get to make choices and you get to be involved. That was the first time that I like really, really invested in Star Wars, because I always was somebody that really wanted this immersive experience. And so I felt in playing KOTOR that I was in a scenario wherein I was free to just enjoy Star Wars and run around. And at the time KOTOR came out, it wasn't kind of at the height of Star Wars internet. But that being said, I couldn't be wrong about Star Wars facts, because I was making all of the primary character. I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't played KOTOR for them. And the thing is, though, is much like some of the early Mass Effect titles, Mass Effect 1 very specifically, it is a little bit dated, the gameplay system. And they did such a good job updating the gameplay for Mass Effect 1. Now, the Mass Effect games were only a remaster. They were not a ground up remake. This is a ground up remake. And based on other titles, things that come to mind for me, specifically things like Resident Evil 2 and 3 or Final Fantasy 7, I have really enjoyed the reinterpretation of those games. And they've done so in a way where it feels like they reached into my brain and they made the game I remember, not the actual game. They do such a good job of capturing the experience that I had playing these games when I was young. And I just absolutely love Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm so excited to be able to experience it again. And for everybody that hasn't played Knights of the Old Republic to now be able to play a game and go, oh, this is what people felt when they played this game, instead of being like, this is so weird. My character's just shooting and I'm not actually like entering a command for them to do it because there's invisible dice rolls happening.
Yeah, for me, Knights of the Old Republic is like the probably biggest piece of like missing Star Wars in my history. I read a couple of the comics, but that's it. So I'm very excited by this because it's always been something, even though I have a Darth Revan lightsaber a few feet from me, but I've never actually played this game. So I'm very excited to get the chance in a new spruced up form. What about you guys, Danielle, Bailey?
Well, so I was one of my first jobs was selling video games. So this was I worked at an old video game store. And so this was one of the games that I was selling. And I remember playing this and just being so incredibly hyped. My major thought, my one that hasn't already been covered, because Emma, you did such a great job of capturing my thoughts. When can I get a friggin' PS5? I think that's my number one, is like, I want it. And I can't do it until there are actual PS5s because I want to play this so badly. I'm like bursting.
This is, I'm going to need a PS5 by the time this comes out. That's for sure. Yeah, but based on that tease, we have a little bit of time there. Let's see. Ryan put a funny note here. I'm gonna say we do have time for this. His note was, if we have time, let Bailey and Emma explain God of War Ragnarok and the newest hot Thor sweeping the nation. Guys, do you have any thoughts on this new incarnation of Thor?
I love hot Thor. He looks like he could lift me up over his head and he wouldn't even make a noise when he did it. I am into it. I want to see more of him. Anyone on the internet who doesn't think he's hot is wrong.
I had a friend who there was, when they did the reveal tweet, and what's up on the screen right now, just to be clear, is Tyr, not Thor.
I was gonna say that.
So Thor in God of War Ragnarok, there he is. Hey, that's
my
boy.
There's he. Yeah. You gotta tickle that belly.
Yeah. So, I mean, they even talked in the developer sort of chat that happened right after the presentation of this trailer about the fact that they want Thor to be this kind of like grizzled, doesn't care, older kind of guy. And they share this photo, this character artwork of Thor. And another friend of mine was like, a lot of men in there, they're revealing that they would hook up with Hemsworth, commenting on the appearance of this Thor. So,
good for them, good for them. It's 2021. Let's be open.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love me some thick Thor. I think that's one of the things that is really well done about God of War, is that I love seeing their interpretations of the various gods that appear throughout the games. And like, I think that's something that they always run up against with these Marvel games. Obviously, like, this is not a Marvel game, but there's some relevance to it because we have an image of what these characters look like based on their appearance as characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though they're not strictly speaking the same characters. And I think that something that Insomniac has done quite well is having interpretations of these characters that still feel unique to them, as opposed to, say, the Avengers game, where the characters kind of all looked like stunt doubles of the characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. But I think that, again, that there is a level of recognition that comes with names now, like Thor, or with Loki or Odin, any of the characters we have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that, like, I don't know, to me, it feels like it's almost beneficial that people have familiarity with these characters outside of mythology nerds, like myself, to then go, oh, I want to play this game because I sort of know who this character is based on them being in the biggest movie franchise on earth.
And what if everyone knows the multiverse now? So hey, it's just another spin on these characters. I'm all for this Thor and his he's positive nature there with that costume.
Exactly. Yeah, body positivity. We love it.
Yeah, anybody who's yelling about the fact that they're like, oh well, he couldn't do good in combat. Yeah, watch some wrestling sometimes, y'all. Get into Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I saw people also mention Sammo Hung. If you've never seen any of his martial arts stuff, watch it. He kicks ass. Let's do a couple here AMA stuff from the chat. DA Baracus has a good question because it does apply to a couple things we talked about today. Hawkeye, Spider-Man, but it also applies to Black Widow, saying in comics, it's common for multiple people to use the same superhero name, but seeing it in live action, is it weird that superhero names are passed around? What do you guys think of the multiple people having the same name thing?
I honestly like it more in the movies because unlike in the comics, in the movies, people, age or finish their contracts or whatever. Yeah. And I think it's just a really good in-universe way to explain the things that happen in our universe.
Yeah, I think most people are cool with it. Like we understand, like Miles and Peter can both be Spider-Man, and once in a while you can maybe do a funny joke where someone yells Spider-Man and both turn. Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to watch The Amazing Spider-Man and be like, I thought it was the other guy and get like really mad about it. I'll just get mad because it's not a very good movie.
Yeah, it's also like if you can name your kid your exact same name, then Spider-Man there can be multiple Spideys.
Yes, exactly. Why not? Some families have people with the same name right there with father and son, so they deal with it.
Makes it easier.
Stephen H asks, there's a Hawkeye specific question. Wouldn't it have been more interesting to see a Ronin show about Clint descending into ruthlessness over those 5 years? I mean, I like what we're getting. I'm
sort of tired. Yeah, I'm sort of tired of prequels.
And I also just think, like, do we know? I mean, I get, like, I'm not against dark stuff, but watching this, I'm like, I like that this looks delightful. I like being delighted.
Yeah, I need a little more delight in my life. I don't need to see a dark origin story for every single character. Especially one that like we haven't really established as we said earlier as likable yet. Really,
yeah.
Like, he had a few likable moments, but he's not one that people are really like scrambling to see the origins of for the most part, at least not for me. I want to see him be likable.
Yeah. I don't think it's a matter of it being more interesting. I think it would also be interesting. It's just a different show and one that I think would have worked better during the Netflix Marvel era in that sort of world and not so much a Disney Plus.
Yeah. Also, I feel like it wouldn't have been because as y'all have said, because we haven't gotten to see really likable Clint yet, it wouldn't be earned. Like, I think that's the kind of thing that you can do after you've already done a Hawkeye series where you really get to see him and his family and like this version of him. And then you get to see him break bad. But I think the breaking bad of him doesn't work if we haven't already gotten the version of him that we like.
Yeah, and I think because I remember quite a while ago, because now everything got delayed, a couple years ago, Kevin Feige saying how that this show would delve into his time as Ronin a little bit. And then you see in the trailer, he has like a line about I made a lot of enemies. I think that's the right way to do it, right? We're going to get info on those 5 years in this show, but it's not the focus of the show. And yeah, I think that way you can give more depth to the character, but it doesn't have to focus, like you guys said, on that dark era before we've seen a likable, fun Clint joking around with Kate Bishop, which looks fun for the whole family. And then I also want to mention, kind of related to what one of you just said. I'm sorry, who just mentioned the Netflix thing?
Me,
Emma.
Yeah, Emma. Just Matten Valinsky asked about does Hawkeye kind of have the feeling of the Netflix shows, albeit a PG-13 one? A little bit. I mean, I think the thing about Marvel in the comics is it's like so rooted in New York. And the movies are a little bit, but not quite. Like even their Spider-Man is not in Manhattan. So the fact that like those Netflix shows were all in Manhattan and that Hawkeye seems like he's going to be hanging out in Manhattan a lot. But
yeah, it seems like it's more grounded as like the way that because Loki is so much. And then Scarlet Witch is like obviously like not grounded in anything. And so this does feel like a return to more of that grounded street level stuff instead of like, oh God, please no. But I don't expect there to be a huge flying battle at the end,
Right.
Maybe a hallway fight.
There should be a hallway fight. Why not?
Yeah.
Another
Old
one
time's sake.
Another one from Luis here who asks, if you could live in a Matrix in-universe reboot world, which one would it be? A 90s world, an MCU-like world, an Alice in Wonderland world? It's kind of like, I mean, Ready Player One, I hate to say, did kind of give you that idea. But yeah, what would be your planet of or world of choice here?
So those are the options. Are 90s?
I don't think that's the only options. I think they're given like that. I'm saying you'd go wherever you want with it.
Ooh. I mean, to me, the obvious choice is you would want to live in a Star Trek world. And that's because Star Trek is a future where money is meaningless, where it's all about peaceful exploration and cooperation and discovery and understanding of cultures outside of your own. So, I mean, basically Star Trek is the future liberals want, and I'm there.
Don't make Star Trek woke. It's never been woke.
Yes, it's not the show that featured the first interracial kiss on television ever.
No,
that's totally not Star Trek.
Any other choices, guys?
Yeah, I want to live in that one version of the Matrix that they mentioned in the first movie where they're like, it didn't work, but they're like, everyone was super happy for like a really long time. I was like, that sounds sick. Let's do that. I don't care that it like imploded at the end. We'll do that for as long as we need to. It's fine. I'm just a baby in a tube. Let's go.
Yeah, I think for me, I would go into in Buffy, they kept mentioning that like there's either a world with shrimp or a world without shrimp. Or a world that's nothing but shrimp. I would definitely look. I'm just like what's her name from The Good Place. I want to live in the world. I want to live in the world with nothing but shrimp, baby. Give it him scrampy
shrimp fountains.
Yeah.
Shrimp
Let's just live in the good place.
Let's just live in the good place.
I'm fine with that.
It's good at first. Like it's fine at first.
Yeah.
Did anyone else do the Good Place like pop-up experience at Comic-Con a few years ago?
I missed it. I was very bummed.
It was fun. There was some shrimp references in it. You would have enjoyed.
Well, now I know what I'm having for lunch. I did that.
Yes. I tried to go, but I eventually resigned myself to the fact that I had unlimited access to those sets as long as The Good Place wasn't filming during my years as a tour guide at Universal. So I felt like I had already truly inhabited The Good Place. So
only reason I got to go, by the way, is because my friend Shelby's boyfriend was stuck on a train and couldn't make it, so I posed as him. Nice. Because the line was so long. But she's like, I have a reservation for two, so it worked. I'll just choose the other big star franchise and say Star Wars, just because I want to be, basic and walk around with a lightsaber and walk. I don't want to cut people's arms off in real life. I want to make that clear. But in a world where I wouldn't be punished for it, in a cantina confrontation, sure, that would be cool.
You can have that Star Wars experience at Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge right now.
That's right. Hey, I should head over there.
We're not sponsored by them.
I should head over there. Right? Well, guys, I think that's a good note to end on. Thank y'all for an entertaining show. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Honest Trailers, we got Honest Trailers commentary, so please be back for that. Thanks, guys, and happy Monday to y'all. Bye.
This episode was brought to you by Hulu.